Okay, we're live yet again with another Power Talk show. And today we have a very, very serious topic that we're going to discuss. Um, it's a lot of things going on in the world. And today we're really going to discuss something that is very, very big in the world. So, with that being said, um, today is brought to you by Miss Mulatto. Like I said, Miss Mulatto is brand new for So So Def. Please go check her out. No More Talking is her new single. She just got signed to So So Def, album coming soon. With that being said, welcome to the Power Talk show, Meghan Baker. Um, she's very, very big in her struggles and everything that she's been dealing with her in her life as far as MS goes. Today's topic is MS. If people don't know what MS is, I'm going to let Meghan Baker actually disclose what MS is. Welcome to the show, Miss Meghan Baker. Can you give
Thank you
us
so much for having me.
first, before we get into MS, can you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Absolutely. My name is Meghan Baker, and I am the president of No Matter What Foundation. It's a nonprofit support site for patients struggling with multiple sclerosis and MS. And I also myself struggle with MS and have a huge family history of MS. So it's really a support group trying to raise awareness. Really want to get the word out and raise awareness in that support system of helping other people who've been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And
Okay.
again, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Um, okay. So basically, before you actually was diagnosed with MS, how did you actually live your life? How was your life?
Well, that's a great question. It's funny that you asked that. I had two children and, was taking off in my career. I have a medical background. I was working an awful lot, and I come from a large family. I have three brothers and, like I said, two kids, and, just really active with friends, family, working a lot. I was at the peak of my career and certainly going on an 18-hour day, full throttle there, very type A personality, and do it all and really go hard. And this disease really will stop you in your tracks, and it really did for me. I was 27 when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. My mother, who has since passed, she passed very early in her life at 54 with multiple sclerosis. So her mother as well has multiple sclerosis. Um, and basically, so I was 27 when I was diagnosed, had some early symptoms of fatigue and some numbness and some weakness, but attributed that to working a lot, keeping up with two kids. I was a single mom and working an awful lot. So didn't really make the connection, thinking that it was an autoimmune disease that I was struggling with at the time.
Okay, okay. Now, with that being said, when you first found out that you had multiple sclerosis, um, how how did that affect you? How what was your first thoughts when you first found out when the doctors gave you this news? What how did that actually affect you?
Well, again, that's a great question too. I had a little bit of an advantage there because having watched my mother struggle with multiple sclerosis, she was kind of the same go, don't stop, still, try to live your life and stop you in that mindset. So I had the advantage of seeing her. I know a lot of our newer diagnosed patients, they're initially diagnosed and, your mind automatically goes to, oh my gosh, wheelchair. I'm going to be in a wheelchair bound or blindness. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But for me, uh, to be honest, I was in a bit of denial. I still have days where I think, I'm having a great day. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as I was initially diagnosed. So there does have, you do go through the process of, just like anything else when it's a traumatic life event, denial, anger, frustration, confusion, no, this isn't real. It's not true. So it definitely is, it's a devastating it's a devastating, life-changing event, you know. And I tell all of our support group patients, your life isn't over. You know, it's not done. It's not over. It's just going to be different than what you anticipated your life to be. No one at 27 years old, we have a lot of younger patients, but no one at 27 thinks, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I'm going to use tubes to, you know, go to the bathroom. And challenges kind of gotta go through that process of grief, anger, denial, and then finally acceptance, really accepting that, okay, this is real, it is happening. So it was a process, and it's still a process. Every day is a new day, and it's a new challenge. So
Okay. So
I think for myself, initially, it was just kind of a state of shock that there's no way that my grandmother has it, my mom has it, and now I have it.
so now, how do you actually live your day now after the fact that you found out? How basically how do you feel every morning when you wake up? Like, do you have that sense of doubt that, oh, can this be my last day, or am I going to end up losing something today? You know, or how do you get through that? Or do
Sure.
you have happy days like, you know what, I'm not going to even worry about
I think, you know, for everybody, it's a little bit different. You're processing the disease, your illness is a little bit different. But I have good and bad days just like anybody else. I have days where I feel awesome and, you know, I set out to accomplish those tasks. And then just like you said, there's some mornings where I wake up and maybe I've lost the ability to move my left side or to really be ambulatory or my cognitive, or when we talk about cognitive, we talk about some memory loss and some speech delay and some slurred speech. So, you know, with this disease, there's really no gunshot. I could go to bed tonight and be absolutely fine and continue on our live chat here and wake up tomorrow and have lost my ability to swallow without some real difficulty. But here's the thing, you wake up every day, it's a new day. I think one of the things that this disease really taught me was, you know, every day really is a gift. I don't care what your religious preference is, but it really is a gift, and I try to make the most of it. There's going to be some days where, you know, maybe you do struggle more than other days, but I think in our case it just happens to be a more pronounced struggle, that's for sure. But I do try to wake up each day with the mindset that, you know what, we're going to do as much as we can today, and we're going to navigate around it, and we're going to get through it.
Okay, great, great, great. For those that just came in, today's show is about MS, multiple sclerosis, and Megan is a fighter, and you know she's a person that's going to make awareness to a lot of people out there that don't know what MS is. For those people that just joined the chat room, now Megan, let me ask you this: what what do you see? How do you think your life will be in the next 2 or 3 years dealing with this type of situation?
And so, you know, I try to be as positive as I can. I have sat my children down. Like I said, I do have two children. My son is going to be 16 this year, and my daughter Veronica is going to be 14. So I'm definitely, they're very aware of my illness, my mom and her mother, my grandmother. They know what it's about. They know what it looks like. They know that it's not deemed technically a terminal illness. However, its side effects are. Um, where do I see myself in 2 to 3 years? Hopefully still guest speaking, raising a lot of awareness, trying to get the word out, trying to support other people that are newly diagnosed, making it, you know, less traumatic, less scary. Uh, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I can answer that. I do have a wheelchair that I use now on my bad days, and again, trying to make the most of those good days. But I'm also very realistic. As positive as I try to be, I'm very realistic about outcomes. And I know there's going to come a point where I'm not able to be home alone anymore, and perhaps looking into some nursing homes. And again, in your mid-30s, that's a tough pill to swallow. But just trying to take each day, and sure.
So now, with that being said, what type of things do you actually like to do? You know, to get your mind off of off of the situation that you're in right now. You know, how do you go out and block it out? Like, how do you keep happy?
Sure. Well, I don't think there's a way to really block it out. It's with me 24/7. When I go to the bathroom, I'm using catheters and tubes for better word, pee and poop. So it's with me all day long. My gait's always off. My speech is a little slurred all day long. It's more pronounced when I'm fatigued, but how do you keep your mind off of it? Okay, well, it's with you 24/7. I don't know if you really can keep your mind off of it, but there are still things that I certainly enjoy doing. I read a lot. I educate myself an awful lot on this illness and different modalities and therapies that are coming out or maybe on the forefront. I do speak with a lot of support online groups and speaking with patients. I do guest speak an awful lot and travel a lot, so I'm always up on stage or in the community, just trying to raise awareness. And I hang out with my kids. I think there's kind of a stereotype there where once you're sick, that's it. But we still, you still push on each day, and I still have homework to get done with the kids and still have, activities going on with them. And I have my partner and my home life here. So none of those things stop just because you're sick. So I think that's a huge point that, life really does continue, and you just have to keep pushing on.
Okay,
Life doesn't stop because you're sick, that's for sure.
that's true. That's true. Now, you say you do a lot of speaking engagements. Tell me, how did you actually get into that? What actually made you want to actually go and make awareness of this? Or other than you just feeling down about yourself,
Sure,
why did you want to help other people?
sure. Well, I think there was an initial phase where, I was so angry. I sort of felt that I had paid my dues, taking care of my mom and being a caregiver. She was not in a nursing home until the very end. But I was angry, and it was a process of, do I want to acknowledge this? I think a lot of times I do get myself to the point where I just don't want to talk about it anymore. And especially early on in my diagnosis, someone would, ask me, hey, don't you have MS? Doesn't your mom have that too? And it was in my face 24/7, and it got to the point where I just didn't want to discuss it. But then there also comes that moment of like acceptance, and how are you going to cope with this? Okay, so you're sort of at a crossroads of, how am I going to handle this? Am I going to just shut everybody out and completely, phase of denial and anger and no, this isn't really happening? Or am I going to accept it? And what can I do to help other people? And really that community outreach of knowing you're not alone, you're not the only person, you certainly won't be the last, you're not the first, and you won't be the last that's going through this struggle every single day. So I reached out to my local chapter of the National MS Society, which is completely all over the U.S. It's all over the United States, and it is a nonprofit organization that does help people with some community outreach and helping them navigate from anywhere, telling your employer to share, or your husband or wife, or sharing it with your kids. And as I became active in this organization, they had asked me to be the Erie ambassador in my area. And that's when I was, contacted, and I saw such a need there too. There's such a need. It's such a scary initial diagnosis, and I wanted the opportunity after seeing my mom. She was diagnosed, and she just kept going. She did it from her wheelchair. She was a tiny Italian woman and a force to be reckoned with, but she didn't let it stop her. And I wanted that same approach. I wanted to be an example for my children that, okay, I have this illness. It's a crappy one. It sucks, but we're going to get through it, and we're going to move on, and this is what's going to happen now. So I knew very early on in my diagnosis, I have been battling this for 11 years now, that I wanted to give back. And because I had past experience in, working in the hospitals as an admissions director, and in that setting, I saw there was such a need. We had patients anywhere from 18 all the way into their 60s admitting with multiple sclerosis. And so I saw a need there of just really raising awareness and outreach, and how are you handling this, and what meds have you tried, and what's worked for you? Do you have access to online support? Are you in an online chat room or community outreach? That sort of stemmed and to, would you come to our school and guest speak in front of our auditorium? And then it stepped up from there to, would you come speak with some of our physicians about maybe some of the psych aspect of dealing with a chronic illness that just isn't going to get better? There's no cure. It's not going to go away. How do you really wrap your mind around that psychologically? So more and more physicians wanted to hear the patient perspective of, how do you really handle that? So that's where I sort of found my niche and thought, okay, as my mom continued on in her illness and then finally again passed away, I thought, okay, I need to step my game up and reach out to the community and touch those other lives of people that are struggling.
Okay, okay.
For sure.
Now let me ask you this. What when you first found out, what were some of the symptoms? So, people that may have it and that don't know, what are some of the
Sure.
symptoms? What are some of the symptoms for them to, they may have it, so they may need to go get checked. What are some of the
Sure.
symptoms? You know.
A huge advocate of, know your body, know yourself. And if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Now, that's not to say you get a paper cut and you fly to your local ER. Certainly don't take it to that extreme. But, I look back now 11 years later and I see that there were a lot of signs. I did have double vision. I did have chronic migraines that weren't too great. I did have some slurred speech and my gait was off. The final early on symptoms for me, and I think, again, that was a lot of a denial sort of coping mechanism. Oh, no, I always brushed it off as I'm overworked, I'm at the hospital, I'm working 12-hour shifts, I'm running with the kids. So I think that there was a bit of self-processing there of, oh, no, it's not real, it's not truly happening. So my early symptoms myself was the final straw when I finally went to Cleveland Clinic and was formally diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at 27. I had fallen and, didn't have any fever, didn't have any other symptoms other than my balance was really off. And I leaned my hair back, leaned my head back to rinse the shampoo out of my hair and ended up falling through my shower window. So I went to obviously sought out my primary care physician and sort of told him some of my symptoms, the slurred speech and my gait's really off. Cognitively, I just had what's called brain fog or cog fog, just having a hard time remembering things. And I don't mean like, you walk into a room and forget what you walked in for. I mean like remembering the names of my children, remembering where I lived, remembering my partner's name. It was pretty significant. And again, being so young at that time, I was 27, so, clearly it was a sign of something going on. My doctor, neurologist, and I had what's called an MRI, and you sit in this big tube, and it's very loud. It's not painful, but I also had a spinal tap to have a definitive test, and I went from seeing one neurologist, and in Cleveland Clinic walks 4 other neurologists, and they sat down and said, Megan, unfortunately we have some bad news. You have multiple sclerosis, and your MRI revealed some lesions on your brain. So again, at that point, my mom was pretty far along in her disease process, and it was a real shock. It was, but I tell everyone the silence was deafening. You could have heard a pin drop in that room, and no one really knew what to say. I was 27 at the peak of my career, very young. And it took a good year before I could actually say, okay, this is real. And of course, the neurologist, they wanted to start me on medication, and there's different modalities and different disciplines that can kind of help. We know that there isn't a cure right now for multiple sclerosis, but there are medications you can take that will certainly prolong your independence and prolong your activities of daily living. So to sum it up, I would definitely say, so early symptoms and signs, dizziness, cog fog, cognitive loss and memory loss, slurred speech, double vision, numbness or tingling or extreme pain in your lower extremities, your lower legs, difficulty walking, difficulty swallowing, difficulty talking. These are all not clearly normal, but they're pretty significant signs of something neurological going on. And I would encourage anyone out there, if you're having these symptoms, please, please bring it up to your doctor. I know it's scary to get the fact that, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to know. I hear from a lot of patients, well, did you ever, not want to know? I don't know if I'd want to know. You want to know. You want to see your neurologist and see if something can be done for sure.
So, with that being said, with everything that's being said, and everything that where right now today, how are you actually feeling today?
I feel good today. I feel good today. I do have days where certainly my hair and makeup's not done. I try to maintain as normal activities of daily living, we call them ADLs in the medical community, as normal as possible. It's very easy to kick back, stay in yoga pants, a t-shirt, not do your hair, not do your makeup, maybe not see friends or family. But I try really hard, and I find it helps a great deal to try to maintain that sense of normalcy, getting up at the same time every day. Try not to sleep late, not to sleep in. But again, I feel good today. Today is a good day. Tomorrow's not promised, but it's not for anybody. So, and it's not to say I don't have bad days. I certainly do. And I do have why me days and this sucks days and can't stop crying days. But I try to pull myself out of that spot and out of that place as quickly as possible.
Well, you're a strong woman, and I
Thank
am
you so
very
much.
happy. You are very. Give me a minute. I'm so sorry. Um, sorry. But like I said, you are a very strong woman, and I'm very happy to have you on my show. Can
Thank
you
you
tell
so
people
much for having me.
about your organization and where they can find you at, and different things like that, like where they, tell us why you had a unique name for your organization.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, I do.
can you
The
explain? Can you explain? Yeah, can you explain the name and why did you come up with that name and all that?
Absolutely. So the name of my organization is called No Matter What. You can find me on Facebook, and I think later in the show we're going to post a link. Again, the need for the website or the reason behind the website was to just offer support, for those tough days or newly diagnosed women or men. How do I tell my kids? When do I tell my kids? How do I present it in a non-scary way? When do I tell my employer, hey, have you heard of this medication? Or, hey, have you tried this for pain? Or it's just a support group for other people that are dealing with this. And the name of the website through Facebook is No Matter What. So my mom would often say, and she was a great lady, just an incredible person, and she really went through a god-awful battle. And she was wheelchair bound the last 10 years of her illness before she finally passed. And she would always say, I love you no matter what. And then as she became sicker and sicker, she reduced it down to no matter what. Then, as she became truly sick and she was having a hard time holding a pen, writing, she would sign everything NMW for no matter what. As she was dying, we stayed together in the room, and I promised her I wouldn't leave until she did. And she was completely alert and oriented. She knew that she was passing and what was happening. But one of the last things she said to me was, don't forget, I love you no matter what. So we took that little piece, that little tagline, and sort of incorporated it to the website of No Matter What. And so it was just a reminder to myself as well as all of our other patients and other people struggling with this disease that no matter what, we're there, someone's there, you're not alone. And it's just, it touches my heart. There's so many people. We had the MS walk a few years back, and everybody showed up in shirts with the no matter what across their shirts. So it really is a great website, and it's a great tool. I know when I was first diagnosed, I just wanted some other woman to say, hey, I've experienced that, or as a mother, I get it, I've been there, I know. And so that's why we started the website, so that there was a place to go to say, you know what, I totally get that. You can't take your daughter shopping for a prom dress. I get that. I can't walk a lot either. Or little things like that. I just told my employer, and I'm kind of struggling with, how my other colleagues are looking at me now, and I'm getting the look, a sick person look. And to have a place to utilize, a place to be able to go to say, you know what, I get it. I get it. I've been there. I get it. So that's really the meaning behind the website.
Okay. I just pasted her Facebook in the chat room, guys. Go make sure you guys go subscribe to her Facebook. Make sure you guys follow her to get more information about multiple sclerosis. And let anybody know that has multiple sclerosis, if they need to branch out and meet somebody to talk to, that Megan Baker is here for them to
Yes,
know
thank you.
knowledge.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
Now let
Thank
me
you.
ask you this. Let me ask you,
Sure.
Megan. Um, if you was to look at your life right now from, when you first got diagnosed? Would you change anything in your life, or, you know,
Yes, absolutely. I think personally, I think I would have told family and told my employer much sooner than I did. I was diagnosed 11 years ago, and I continued to work full time for about 9 years into my illness. And it was a pride thing. It was a psych thing. I mean, nobody wants to go to their employer or their students. I was teaching at a medical school at the time, and no one wants to say, hey, there's things I'm not able to do, or I'm really struggling with holding a pen right now, or I'm really struggling with some bladder dysfunction or some urinary incontinence. A, it's a dignity issue, and B, it's plain right embarrassing. So I think had I swallowed my pride a little bit, or maybe had a support system, is to tell my employer, to tell my kids. I mean, all I ever told my kids was, Mom's really tired, or, we can't go to the park, or I can't roller skate today. Mom's really tired. Had I been open with my kids, even at their age level, for as young as they were at the time, I think it would have helped them immensely with their coping process as well, and how they really coped with it and dealt with it and experienced it and really finally grew to acceptance. I was very fortunate that I did have family support, and my family was aware that I was sick very early on in life, and I had some great support there. But, my career was a huge part of my life, and of course my kids was the other chunk of a huge portion of my life. So I look back now and think, man, I struggled all those years. Had I only told them, or I'm struggling, or this is why I'm struggling so much, I think it would have helped a lot. Um, that's chronic illness in a whole. I don't think that that's exclusive to MS specifically. I think anyone who's dealing with a chronic illness, whether it's Parkinson's, ALS, MS, HIV, RA, rheumatoid arthritis, those are all autoimmune. Those are all illnesses that don't get better. And again, this process of grief and denial and anger and acceptance, it all goes along with it. And once you self-process that, I think it would help a lot had I said. And then honestly, I'm going to tell you, getting in my wheelchair, I still struggle even 11 years out. My girlfriends, we just took a trip, our annual girls trip to Panama City, and I refused to take my wheelchair. And again, that's, it's a psych issue, and I know it, and I'm aware of it. Utilized my wheelchair a little more, I probably could have extended my time there a little more. But that's my own kind of mental head thing about it. And so I'm working on it each day. I'm still working at accepting and knowing there's limits to what I can do now.
very good, very good. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Megan. You are a strong woman. You are
Thank you
you.
so much.
You honestly, there's a lot of things that you hear about, you know the Susie G. Komen, the breast cancer, and all these things, and this thing, it's all over the place. You know about the breast cancer and the breast cancer
I
walks, and
do,
people don't,
yes.
but you don't hear that much about MS as you do, as much as breast cancer.
Yes.
um
I
can
agree. And I think, just touching on that, I think, we have a celebrity for Parkinson's, which is Michael J. Fox, and he's a huge spokesperson, and we love him to death. And I've actually heard him speak. He's an incredible speaker. Montel Williams is really our poster child for multiple sclerosis, and we know he's had such a long journey, but he has a huge story too, and such an inspirational battle that he's coping with his multiple sclerosis. But you're right, it's not like cancer, it's not like HIV. We don't have a lot of awareness. We do have the National MS Society that you can certainly log on to, but other than that, it's kind of a quiet illness. There's autism awareness, there's diabetes awareness, there's HIV and Parkinson's now. It's being ALS. Everybody heard about the water challenge, the ice bucket challenge. But I think the awareness is coming. Social media is incredible. It's a great outreach, a great source for support for a lot of people, especially if you're wheelchair bound or bed bound, or you're not able to be as ambulatory as you want to. It's a great resource to really reach out to other people and raise more awareness. The more people that come forward with this illness saying, hey, I'm going through this too, I'm struggling with that too, the more awareness we're going to have. So I think it does take people really getting out there and sharing their story and sharing their journey, no matter how embarrassing that may be. I mean, it was truly a gut check moment when I sat in the room with 40 other people and had to describe straight cathing and how I, but it's topics like those things that, maybe they are a little embarrassing, but it's raising awareness and it's showing other people you're not the only one. You really aren't.
So everybody, if you hear this, I think everybody should share this video all over the place. Let's honestly
Oh, please,
let's
yes.
try to let's try to get more awareness out there. Let's try to have this video go viral. Anything to actually help, because this is a serious situation. As she said that they do have Montel Williams, they do have other celebrities, but it's not as big as the other ones that everybody knows about. I think that multiple
Yes.
sclerosis is a very serious disease that is taken lightly. I'm going to be honest with you. It's taken lightly, and it needs to be up there with the rest of them.
Yes.
That's my opinion. It should be up there with the rest of them. A lot of people should know, because day in and day out, there's at least out of 500 people that go into a hospital, at least 100 of them have MS.
Yes. And maybe undiagnosed. Absolutely.
So I think that it should be out there. Megan, I'm
I
gonna
think when I spoke to just touching on those stats a little bit, 400,000. I think Mary Lee Jackson and CDC had released in the United States currently are battling MS, and more young people. I met with the mayor of our town, and he was on the MS walk this year, and we were really grateful because the weather was kind of cold. But was really astonishing was how many young people were there, 12, 13, newly diagnosed. And this year I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to walk, and had my own reasons for that. But I thought, if this 12-year-old girl ride and walk in the MS walk and raise awareness and didn't give a crap how she looked, didn't care about her wheelchair, I thought, shame on me for not getting out there and doing it. So, it was such an honor to be on the walk this year. I wasn't able to complete the full walk, our 3-mile walk, our 5K, but, I think that's a really valid point, that there are hundreds of people that are newly diagnosed and feel alone and feel lost. And so younger kids even now, and the awareness just really isn't there. And you're right, it should be up with HIV, anything autoimmune, because this is an autoimmune disease. And so what that means is, when people hear autoimmune, well, what is that? Autoimmune means that your body's attacking itself. Your body recognizes itself as a foreign infection, disease, disorder, and it just keeps attacking itself. There isn't a cure. There's great medications. I know one of the new things that has hit the market is the oral pill. Instead of doing daily injections and giving yourself weekly injections, there's a new oral pill now, a new oral treatment. Again, these are all treatments. They're not cures. So important to get the word out, raise awareness until we find a cure.
great, great, great. Um, what And do you have anything to actually, say to any young girls out there that may have these symptoms, or anybody, to everybody that's in a room, I want you guys to really listen to this part, because you may not know that one of your family members may have these symptoms, and they might not know what it is. Do you have anything to say to these people that may have these symptoms, but they're afraid to go to the hospital to go get checked out? You know what
Sure.
what what, what kind of words of encouragement can you give to these people?
Sure, that's a great question. So again, first and foremost, I understand the fear. I get it. You're afraid, maybe you don't want to know, or maybe mom or dad is showing symptoms. It is typically a woman's disease. More and more women are diagnosed than men. That's not to say that men, certainly even Montel Williams, we just spoke about that. That's not to say men can't be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but it's typically a woman's disease. Um, Onset of symptoms. So again, because it's autoimmune, your symptoms, the trouble and the tough thing about multiple sclerosis is it does mimic so many other illnesses. I could give you 20 to 30 illnesses, even just autoimmune, that mimic, dizziness, fog, cognitive loss, slurred speech, difficulty swallowing, difficulty with peristalsis, or, contracting your bladder, or, going to the bathroom, bowel movements, depression. All of these symptoms could be, 10 different other things. So absolutely encourage you how important it is to talk to your doctor. If mom or dad is showing symptoms, if sister is showing symptoms, if your partner, just is having a hard time with slurred speech, doubled vision, her gait is off, her balance is off, she's having a lot of falls, it could be multiple sclerosis. So please, the importance of reaching out to your doctor, starting that conversation. You don't have to walk in and say, hey, I think I have MS. Well, you won't know. You have to get that MRI, you have to get that spinal tap, and a neurologist has a criteria that they follow to really rule it out. I get that it's scary, but it's better to know. The earlier you know, the earlier you can start treatment to prolong those better days. Just because there isn't a cure doesn't mean, well, I guess I'll do nothing. No, you have to be proactive and really be your own advocate. That's something that my best friend, who is a nurse, she really taught me to be your own advocate, and that means asking questions. Ask questions. Just because someone's a doctor, that you may have a different opinion or a different idea. It's your body, it's your choice. Be proactive. Be your own advocate. Ask questions. If something's bothering you, something doesn't feel right, you don't feel you're being taken seriously, or somebody brushes it off, oh, you're too young, or you don't have a family history of MS. If you're not getting what you need, your primary care physician is working for you. So build those relationships with your medical team, ask questions, and then certainly get checked out. It may be something as small as an ear infection, a common cold, the flu, or it may be something serious that you really do need addressed. So be your own advocate, ask questions, and get to see a doctor. Don't wait. I waited. I waited too long. Even at 27, I waited too long. And looking back, I had those symptoms and those signs, and so I lost a lot of time. Don't lose that time. If you're having symptoms, we talked about the symptoms: dizziness, double vision, difficulty speaking, some memory loss, cognitive loss. Get to see a doctor. Please don't wait.
Y'all hear that? If y'all have any of those symptoms, please go see a doctor. This is a very, very serious thing. For those that just came in, Megan Baker is kind of an ambassador for MS. She has battled with MS for the past 11 years. If you don't know what MS is, it is multiple sclerosis. MS is just a short terminology for it. I have posted her Facebook, both links to her Facebook in the chat. Now, right now, if anybody actually wants to come in and ask Megan any type of question, if you guys want to know anything about MS, and you guys, this is the moment to ask. If you guys are feeling any kind of way, if you know anybody that may be having any symptoms, I'm about to post a link in the chat. You guys can come in and actually ask questions that you may want to know, that you may want to take back to that person. Um, if anybody have anything that they want to say, please come in and ask. Today is a very, very serious topic right now. A very,
And
very
again,
serious
thank you.
topic.
Yeah, it really is. And thank you so much. It's shows like these and online chats and guest speaking and social support and internet, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I saw so many people posting Instagram. It's National MS Awareness Week, or, posting pictures from the MS walk. Something that small really can encourage someone else who's maybe newly diagnosed and feels truly alone. Absolutely. It's such a good idea for these kind of forums to really raise awareness. Absolutely. It is a serious topic, and I really appreciate being hosted on your show today.
Definitely, I do appreciate it. Let's see. What type of things do you actually like to do? I mean, you said you just had your your girls' day out. What are the type of things that you like to do?
Yes.
Like what keeps Megan happy?
Yes. Well, my family is a huge support. My friends are a huge support. but different than everybody else just because I have a wheelchair. I think people assume that, I still don't go out, still don't hang out, and certainly do. But that's a question I get a lot. Well, what's your life like now? Are you in a wheelchair and just hanging out at home, and is it god awful? Because I have no longer, I don't work any longer, and I get the question all the time, but you don't look sick. So that's a huge barrier too. You don't have to look sick to go. I try to remind everybody to check your judgment a little bit on that. But what some of the things I like to do with my kids, when I was newly diagnosed and really struggling in a relapse. So we know with MS, you have what's called relapsing and remitting. So what that means is when you're relapsing, you're really struggling. Your immune system's really amped up. Your body's in that fight mode. So you're not as ambulatory or not as fatigue's really heavy hitting during that time. Some of the things were go to the movies, something you could go, sit down, and then we would hang out afterwards and kind of talk about the movie, what we like. So I'm a huge movie buff, love going to art shows, love music, huge jazz fan. I definitely like my hip hop too. I'm probably the only mid-40 fan even now. But so just really inspirational poetry there. And my life is like anybody else's. So still go out with my girlfriends. I may not be able to do what I did previously, but still my friends are really supportive with if I need to sit down, if I need to rest, if I'm looking really fatigued or really worn down. I'm the kind of person that will absolutely try to keep up and, oh, I can do it, I can do it. And really I can't. So I have a great support system of those other women that are saying, Megan, you're really slurring your speech, or you look really tired today. Let's just chill out for a little bit. So same as everybody else. I love my girls' days, love my pedicure days, and just trying to really keep those connections and those friendships strong because that's what gets you through your tough days.
Well, Megan, if there's anything I can do or help out with, let me know because
Oh, you have so much. Just
you
hosting me today is a huge
know,
help.
yeah, anything. Far as if you when those walks come around, let me know because I would definitely tweet them out. I would definitely do a show and tell people make sure it's National MS Awareness Day and all that because this has to actually get out. This has to
Right.
actually get out.
I
Like I
agree.
said, if anybody wants to actually come in the chat and actually come say anything to Megan, you guys are welcome to come in. You guys can ask the questions you want to ask, anything that you may not know about MS.
Yeah, let's just read a couple of the comments here. I don't know if you have access to the comments. So it looks like Soulless Builds wrote, "My boy's wife has this shit, and man, it's no joke." And it really isn't, guys. I have to tell you, you see a lot of patients that are in wheelchairs, but for every person you see with MS in a wheelchair, there's 20 other people that aren't. And I tell people all the time, the only thing worse than being in a wheelchair is not being in one because you're not able to sit down. And I know that sounds really tricky, but this fatigue, guys, when we talk about fatigue with MS, we're not talking about, man, I'm a little bit tired and I take a nap or I chill out for a little bit or I get a good night's sleep and I'm good the next day. I'm talking about a fatigue level so strong that after you take a shower, you have to lay down, or being too fatigued to get to the bathroom. So we have a lot of patients, excuse me, that are incontinent and wetting the bed. I mean, that's the kind of fatigue when you're too weak to wash your own hair because you can't hold your arms above your head. That's a truly sign of some really debilitating fatigue. So yeah, it really is. It's a tough illness, guys. It really is. And so some of the other things that you may struggle with, just there's things out there that really can help you maintain those activities of daily living. So like shower chairs. I have a shower chair and it seems silly. And, when I told my girlfriends, man, I have a shower chair, I sort of was embarrassed about it. But every woman I told said, I would love to sit down in the shower. There's no excuse not to shave your legs then. So, or just grab bars in the bathroom, or, maybe wearing a life alert. It seems silly, and, we've all seen the commercials, I've fallen and I can't get up. But that's a huge thing when your partner's at work, your kids are at school, and you fall in the bathroom, no one can hear you scream and yell. So there's a lot of different things that you can use at home that really can make life a little better. So just reading some of the other comments here, we
Yeah.
talked about, it looks like somebody's saying that,
Everybody's actually spreading the word.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so I see everybody's logging on to the website, and I really do thank you for your support and clicking that link. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Because we're a nonprofit, you know, I absolutely don't take any money from this. I'm not here to sell you a cure or to sell you a quick kind of scheme. Again, the website certainly is just for support, so that these people know when you're going through these relapses, or, you know, if you have progressive MS, there's 4 different versions of the type that you can have. So when you're battling those tough days, so that you're not alone, for sure.
Yeah, Solus is actually, he made a great point right now. He's gonna make a skin, and he's gonna be advertising the support group in it, which everybody knows that in Cody, you know, I know you follow Cody. Everybody knows
I
in
do.
Cody that, you know, these builds, they get downloaded thousands to millions of times. So that's another great way to have it, you know, awareness out there. You know, so that's a
That would be
very, very,
great.
yeah, you know,
That would be incredible. Yeah. And guys, if you do know someone with MS and maybe they, you know, they're not into the whole online thing, or they don't utilize social support or Facebook or whatnot, something you can do to help them, maybe simply ask them, you know, how are you feeling today? Or, you know, can I do anything with your kids? Partners, caregivers, oh my gosh, the partner. So the person going through the illness, going through it twice as tough. The person going through it obviously has support from hospitals and clinics and maybe some in-home therapy or some home health therapy, some caregiver. Huge. If your buddy at work, his wife's going through it, hey, bro, can I take you out for dinner? Can we hang out? You know, just getting him out of the house a little bit so he doesn't have to think about it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't go away, guys. So a caregiver lives it and sees it every day, and they're really at a disadvantage where, you know, they don't have as much support. I know my partner struggles every single day, every single day. When we got together, when we first met, I was upfront with him and told him, you know, I'm sick. I have this disease. He didn't know a lot about it. Certainly he was supportive, but you know, I wasn't actively sick at that time. So it's one thing to talk about it and know someone is sick, but it's another thing to see them every day in the ICU, to see them on a ventilator because they've lost the ability to inhale and exhale, because that's a muscle too. And you talk about those muscle spasms. So it's a whole process they're going through too, and they can feel very isolated and very alone. So maybe reaching out to the partner or the caregiver, and just showing your support there is huge.
there you go, guys. You guys heard it. You guys heard it here first. Everything that I bring you guys, I bring you guys different things on my show, and this is one of the different things I wanted to bring because it was a, you know, this is awareness, and I am the person to actually ask the right question, to actually interview her the way, you know, it's supposed to be actually interviewed. Um, with that being said, Megan, I do appreciate your time on being on the show. Um, you
Thank you
guys,
so much for having me.
you guys, make sure you go check out her Facebook. Make sure you guys subscribe to, you know, whatever. Just support, you know, the MS, the whole MS community, and definitely, Megan. Like I said, if there's anything, let me know. If there's anything that you want me to mention on any of my live shows, trust and believe. All you have to do is reach out,
Absolutely.
and I would definitely, I
Thank you
would
so
definitely
much.
definitely let it be known. With that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Make sure you guys press that like button. Make sure you guys share this video everywhere. Make sure you guys subscribe to everybody that's in the chat room for Soulless, um, uh, MJ, everybody, just everybody that's in the chat room. Make sure you guys subscribe. Um, with that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you, Megan, for joining me. And
Thank
everybody
you for
like,
having me.
yeah, definitely like, share, and everything, guys. Okay. All right, guys. I'll
Thank you
catch
so
you
much
next
for
time.
having me.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.